Welcome back to TaraChessAcademy. Today we're going to try this puzzle, White to Play and Mate in 4. So the queen could either go to a6 or c6. Those are the only checks in the position. If the queen goes to a6, the black king could capture for free. But if the queen goes to c6, notice how the bishop, knight, and king are now on the same diagonal. So that means that if the knight moves, the bishop will give a check to the king. This is a discovered attack. The knight moves out of the way and the bishop is giving a check to the king. But we want to find what is the best discovered attack for the knight. Because remember, we sacrificed our queen on the last move. So just giving a check won't help. We want to find what is the best check. So we don't want the king to go back to b7 or d7, where the king will be safe and have some shelter. We want the king to come forward so we can continue our attack. That's why we should move our knight to e5, because our knight is controlling d7 and the bishop is controlling b7. The pawn can't capture the knight because the king is in check. So the king, it can't go back to b7 or d7, it has to come forward. It can't go to d5 because of the bishop, and it can't go to b5 because of the pawn, so it has to go to c5. Now, what is the next check? Something that can also help us is when we notice that the knight is in danger. If we want to save the knight, we should move the knight away to give a check. Also because the bishop can't give a check to the king, and if we move our pawn to b4, black could capture for free. So where should the knight move to give a check? If we move our knight to d7, the queen could capture. So let's try knight to d3. When our knight goes to d3, our knight is controlling b4, and the pawn on b3 is controlling c4. So the king's only square is to d4. Now we have to see if there's another check or to see what we should do instead. There's no good checks. Our knight and the bishop can't give a check. And if we do the pawn, they could capture it for free. So we have to find a quiet move, a move that helps us prepare to make a check on the next move. The quiet move is king to d2, because when we do this, it allows us to move our pawn to c3 on the next move, because it will now be protected by the king. And if we went to b2, it still protects the pawn on c3, but the king is going further away from the action. Our king wants to get closer. So that's why we go to d2. And black doesn't have any way to stop the checkmate. They don't have any way to delay it by giving checks, because the queen can't give a check by going to g5, so they have to do something. And now we give checkmate on the next move with pawn to c3. The king can't capture the pawn or the knight because it's protected by our king. It also can't go to e3 for the same reason. They can't go to d5 or e4 because of the bishop, and they can't go to e5 because of the knight. So this was a nice puzzle where white had to find the combination and all the correct forcing moves. So first, white made a queen sacrifice to get the bishop, knight, and king on the same diagonal, and then we give a discovered check to prevent them from running back. The king comes forward, we give another check, and then we play a quiet move to prepare c3, which will be checkmate on the next move. Black will have to move something, and then we play c3, and the king is in checkmate. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to others. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!